How Basketball Saved My Life is sponsored by the Hall at the Rail House, Norman's premier event space in the heart of downtown. Weddings, receptions, corporate events, luncheons, banquets, proms, parties, and more. If you're looking for a place to celebrate life, we hope you'll choose the Hall at the Rail House, located in downtown Norman. This episode is brought to you by Chris Express Drugs, located in South OKC. For all your sports medicine needs, call 405-735-3950. Again, that's 405-735-3950. They are open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and closed on Sundays. This episode is also brought to you by Emmy Labs. First, they partner with the State Department of Health to bring you free COVID-19 tests, and now they have partnered with the State Department of Health to bring you free COVID vaccine tests. So, make your appointment today at www.emmylabs.com.
This episode is brought to you by Chris Express Drugs, located in South OKC. For all your sports medicine needs, call 405-735-3950.
This episode is also brought to you by Emmy Labs. They have partnered with the State Department of Health in Oklahoma to bring you free COVID-19 tests, and now they are bringing you free COVID vaccines. So go to www.emmylabs.com to schedule your next appointment. That's a major move. Yes, sir. Welcome to another episode of How Basketball Saved My Life. I'm your host, the Easy Button.
Your boy Twan Don.
And we have a very special guest in here for y'all today, my man Pooh Williamson. How's it doing, Coach?
Good to meet you. Good to meet you.
Yes, sir, Coach.
Appreciate you guys having me.
We in the building, Coach. We in the building. We was just talking off air. Now we got to get it on air. How you've been coaching for 30 years, man. Or you've been in the game for 30 years.
I was about to say, you really pushed me out there. I'm counting playing from my freshman year in college till now, all my years of coaching. Yeah, 30 strong.
Like, golly. Like, this is what's blowing my mind. Because I'm like, I do basketball almost every day. And I'm like, is there going to ever be a day I get tired of it? And I don't see that day in my future. Then I run into cats like you,
especially
30 strong. Like, I'm hoping that I can get to 30 strong, in some capacity.
You know what? The fact that what you do now and what you guys do in the community, that you'll be surprised. Those years, it seems like just yesterday I was just starting, and now I'm saying 30. So keep doing what you're doing, and those 30 years, you blink a few times, and it'll be here.
Definitely.
Well, shoot, but you also got two babies now. Oh, I say babies. Two littles, right?
Two little ones.
And so how is coaching, and I got to ask this to all my coaches because I got two littles. They babies, 7 and 4. And how old are your boys?
11 and 13.
11 and 13. So then how do you balance coaching and raising your boys, man? Because I'm afraid to misstep in that department.
You know what? I mean, I guess there's different levels of coaching, and the fact that I've coached now 10 years in the Big 12, I've coached in the ACC, I've coached in the Pac-10 prior to becoming the Pac-12, and so I've coached at a high level, and so I've missed a lot of things that I wish I didn't miss, and so I really take advantage whenever I'm able to be at whatever it is. I was just at practice today.
Yes, sir.
I was at an HQ practice today with my shouts out to HQ. I was at an HQ practice today with my 11-year-old. So when I'm able to be there, I'm definitely going to be there because in my situation, I've had to miss out on a lot of things. Right. And so the sacrifices that, they understand and they know why. But it gets tough, man. I will say that. It's tough sometimes, but it kind of comes with the territory.
So then drop a gem on us. Like, what's your thing? Like, you're like, okay, you know what? This ain't going on. We doing this as a family, hands down. Like, what's your thing?
You know what we do, though? Like one of the things that my kids, and next time you're around them or you see them, my wife said after Christmas, their second favorite holiday is the Final Four.
Oh, let's go.
Because you know why? They've been to every single year. They go to the Final Four. With the pandemic last year with no NCAA tournament, and then this year with the bubble. Well, this year with the bubble too, where Those two were the only ones they've missed since they've been alive, and they're 11 and 13 years old. They go to every, so you know what? That is our family vacation, the Final Four, and they love. They have a routine.
Take me
and you know what though? Those guys, it's their Christmas.
Yeah.
Like Friday morning of the Final Four, we get up, we go to the practice, you know, at the venue, so they can go and they can see the venue and they see it set and how it is, and so we'll watch. Every team gets an hour to practice, so we try to catch we catch the end of one and then the beginning of another, so we see 2 of the 4 teams practice.
Nice.
And so we've got a serious itinerary, and we do it every single year. Friday night we eat dinner with all of our Saturday morning they go to the little hoop city, Bracket Town, and then Saturday we get a spot and we watch. Now the next step is actually taking them to the game.
Right.
We don't go. We have yet to do that though. We don't go to the game, all of us yet.
Right.
And it may just be me and the boys because my wife might, Rosemary might let us roll and she might go do her own
boys'
thing.
night.
Yes. But yeah, no, that's what I'd say. One of the things that we just kind of had to have kind of our thing, and the Final Four is our thing.
That is, boy, I'm digging that. I'm digging that. Shout out Dan Nickel. We was just talking a couple weeks ago. We're like, man, we need to get a boys trip and go to the Final Four. I was like, bet I got some homies. We gonna get together. We gonna set it up. Like,
I would guarantee you, if you guys do it, you'll be amazed at how many people like that you see that you would know. Because I mean, the basketball world is small.
Facts.
It's a big thing, but it's a small world. I mean, it's it's our own fraternity.
Bump into people.
Yeah. So you would be surprised how many people you bump into that you guys knew. I suggest you go.
Man, we're going to try to make it happen, man. Now, I got to figure out how expensive it is, but we'll get there. We'll get there, right? So, all right, I got ahead of myself, Coach. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Talk about how you started playing basketball.
You know what? It's funny, man, because I don't think a lot of people know, but I'm from a small town here in Oklahoma. I grew up in Oklahoma, and I'm from a town that it's about an hour, 40 minutes. Like my mom and dad still live there right now. So my boys, grandma and grandpa still live in Beggs, Oklahoma. Shout out to Beggs, right down the way. State runner-ups this year, by the way. They played in the big house in Oklahoma City. Took an L in the championship, but they got there.
They get there.
I grew up in Beggs, and Beggs didn't even have a stoplight. Small town. I mean, what we did, it was a concrete slab. And so growing up, that's all we did. We went up from the time, like, younger than my boys, we'd go hoop, like, time we got up in the summertime till it got dark and the lights stopped working.
It wasn't no Wi-Fi then, Coach.
So it wasn't, it was Atari back then. So and that wasn't nearly as exciting as all the stuff these dudes play. So we just balled. And that's kind of where, that was where I got indoctrinated, where I fell in love with the game, and where, Beggs, Oklahoma, small town, concrete slab, playing against older guys from the time we were able to come up till we graduated to the big court. And,
with the big boys.
Yeah, and kind of made my run from there.
Best part coming from that concrete.
That concrete, boy, it'll do some things for you and it'll do some things to you. My body still hurt.
Don't do it like that no more.
Nah, they don't do it like that no more, man. So, was basketball your first sport, only sport growing up?
No.
Small towners now.
Yeah. Small town, I was from T-ball, was a Little League baseball guy, kind of my first taste of competing. And then, it was organized competition, I guess. But then Little League baseball to the court, middle school football, and you did it all in those small towns.
Was it always basketball for you?
That was the love, though. Yeah, that was like, as soon as I got old enough, then the baseball, no football, no anything, it just, all my time kind of went into, I was probably one of the frontline AAU guys. I mean, there was a little bit of AAU before my age group, but not much. Not like, there was only a few teams throughout the entire state of Oklahoma.
Right.
And so now, there's a team on every block. Yeah. So,
Literally.
So that was prior to 7-Eleven on every corner. That's 24 hours a day, right?
Mickey D's. Straight up.
Yeah, but no, I was kind of the front end. And once I started really, by the time I was 15, 16, was all in. Both feet were in on hoops.
10 toes down. So what grade you said you went 10 toes down?
I was probably about 15 years old, so I'm probably a sophomore. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sophomore when I got all in. I was all in. But until then, though, I dabbled here and there. I played a little baseball. Football, I was done, though. I took a few hits, and I always laugh. I always laugh with my boys because my youngest thinks he wants to play football. So we'll see.
Wait till you get that hit.
Yeah, we'll see.
Man, I got a football story. whenever I first tried football, this was senior year in high school. I went to a little Christian high school, and so you had to play every sport if you was there to play. Like I was there to play basketball, but they had to make you play every sport. And so I'm on the sideline for football. They don't ever need me. I barely practice. I'm just there because, I'm just here so I don't get fined kind of thing, right? So
why I'm here.
You know why I'm here.
You know why I'm here.
So cut to the chase, man. Like I was a safety, right? And so everybody ahead of me got hurt that game. They had to put me in. E, where you at? E, where you at? Y'all calling me, my helmet over there. I'm over here. Had to find my helmet, man. So I get in the game. Why this dude, they was running the ball. This dude beat everybody, and I was me and him. And I've never been in this situation before. It's me and him. So I stick my arm out there. He trying to hit me with something. I stick my arm out there. I swear to you, I thought I lost my arm. Like the dude took my arm with him, drugged me some yards. It might have been 5 or 10. Eventually, I wrapped him up. He went down. They took me out. I ain't played a lick of football since.
One and done. not 1 year. One play. One down.
Hey, at least you made the tackle.
I mean,
You got the book though.
you got 2 first downs. Like for real. So man, that football different, man. That football different. So I can't wait to see your boys get down on it.
Hey, they think they want. Well, my youngest thinks he wants to play. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about when you realize, like, yo, I'm kind of good. Like, I think I'm the man.
You know what though? It's funny because I was a late bloomer. I graduated. It's funny. I was saying 15 years old and I was a sophomore because I graduated from high school. I was 17.
Me too.
So my freshman year of college, I'll never forget. My freshman year of college, we were filling out papers and doing all the stuff that you have to sign. And so one of the coaches said, "Yeah, we got to fax these to your mom." And I'm like, "Why are you only saying that to me?"
Right. I'm older.
Yeah. Like I'm a freshman just like these
Yeah.
guys. He said, "Nah, because you're not 18 years old.
You're a
So
minor.
your mom has to still sign out." But all right. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I grew up small town, so it's kind of like one of those things where you always kind of good in the small town.
Right.
And then, as I said, front end of AAU, it was kind of one of those deals where a friend of mine, a guy I played with, one of my high school teammates who was a hell of a player too, he had got kind of promoted and, they wanted him to play on this AAU team. And he said, "Yo, I'm telling you, you got to go pick my boy up because he can play." And they're like, "Yeah, okay, everybody says that."
Right.
Like, no. Pick my man up. He can play.
He can hoop.
So they stopped by, scooped me up on the way to Tulsa. We go to Tulsa. I practice with the 17-year-old group. They're like, "Oh, wow, okay, this dude's pretty good."
Yeah.
Then they come over and talk to me, and I said, "Hey, when's your birthday?" I said, "My birthday's in September." So I see them over there in a huddle. They're like, "Yo,
doing math,
can
right?"
you stay and practice with the next group?" I'm like, "I roll with my man here. As long as he's good, I'm good."
Yeah.
So they said, yeah, you can play with this team. So let me see you play with them too. So I practiced with the 17-year-old group, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. Stayed, practiced with the 16-year-old group, hour and a half, 2 hours. And they were like, "Okay, wow, now we got a decision.
Yeah.
He can play with this team, but this dude's like the best dude on this team."
Right.
So it's kind of one of those deals where, again, it kind of let me know, well, hell, I'm from a small town, kind of the man around there. But then when I came up to the, Tulsa was the big city for
Big
Megs.
city.
Yeah, notice I say big city now that I've lived a little bit everywhere. It was kind of like, okay, now you might be pretty good. Now I kind of kept grinding. I played with the 16-year-old group, was the best guy on that team, and then played again the next year. And next thing you know, how Tubby Smith gets the job, Coach Tubby gets the job at Tulsa. And again, I'm getting a little bit ahead, but the rest is history.
Let's let it flow. Sheesh. So you literally blew up in a matter of 2 years.
Oh, I mean, almost 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah. From a small town guy that no one knew to all it took was that practice. That year got my confidence level up. Had a hell of a senior year. I led the team in scoring. We won a state championship. Coach Smith gets the job. After my senior year, after we won a state championship, he comes over, watches us playing one of those AAU practices, follows me to Beggs, the 30-minute drive to Tulsa, said, "Yo, I need you to be my future point guard." And boom, next thing you know, I was signing papers.
That's dope. Do you know the AAU team by chance? Are they still around?
You know what? They've been around. They left. Now they're back. The Tulsa Hawks. Yeah, they're still around. Yeah.
Team Trey. Remember when Rayford was saying Trey played for a team in Tulsa. Was it the Tulsa Hawks?
They've been around and they left and they came back, so I'm not sure.
And every time they was around, they always was like a big time team.
It was the team on the east side of the state, like back during that time. Yeah, you had the Tulsa Hawks, you had the Oklahoma City Rams, and you had the Oklahoma City Trotters. Those were the 3 teams in the state.
Why can't I remember? I feel like that's the team, because Rayford said on the way to high school, he sent Trey Young to go to Tulsa.
Get some of that rugged ball.
Because he thought he was the man in Norman. And similar to Beggs, you have to go and see if you're really the man, you know, in a big city.
Big city, the city.
So I got to go fact check that, right?
Yeah, check that out.
This is the question that's swirling around in my mind, because you're a coach, okay? Been a coach, high level, and you've seen a lot, done a lot. And being a small town player yourself, I'm just curious, what goes into recruiting a small town guy?
You know what? It's so funny because I enjoy it because you can see the chip on a dude's shoulder. You can see it, but not every small town guy has that. But when you see that dude that's kind of like, man, I'm out here to prove something.
Beggs is 2A, 3A?
They fluctuate between the two. I think this year it might have been 3A, but we played from 2 and 3. We won a championship in a 2A and 3A classification. So it's small school though.
Right.
I mean, definitely. And usually the thing that you see with those guys, like I'm saying, the ones that are good, they have that, I'm out to prove somebody. I'm gonna show you.
Right.
That's just kind of in those guys from those small towns. And if they have that, then they got a shot. I always tell those guys, if you want to compete and you're looking to prove a guy wrong,
right? Then
yeah, you got a chance of making it.
Cause I bet it's like tough to pick a 2A, 3A guy over a 6A guy. And like in Florida, you know, 7A, it's some big high schools, man.
Huge. Yeah.
It's some big high schools. California, where he's from, it's some big high schools. So I imagine you getting, you know, offered from Tulsa from a school like that, you had to bypass some athletes.
You know what? Yes. And you know, even saying that though, that was an interesting year though, because in Oklahoma, the guy that was 10 miles from us in Preston, Oklahoma, was Sean Alexander. Came here to OU. He came to Norman and was the player of the year in Oklahoma, small school guy.
Right.
Myself, got one of my teammates who was one of the best players in the state, Junior Whitaker. He was another guy that ended up playing in small school. We were teammates. He played in Beggs, actually. A kid named Marlo White went to junior college first, but then he went to New Mexico. And then big country, Brian Reeves, that played at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
We were all on the same all-state team. And so that week, we were all in Tulsa. So, you know, we had the small east, small west, large east, large west.
Yeah.
So they let us scrimmage the large east.
Tell me you smacked them.
Oh, we did. We beat everybody. But we had the best players, though. And that was just an interesting thing because that doesn't happen all the time. All the best players, for the most part, were from the small town.
What you saying is the stars aligned.
It was just one of those years. Again, you've been in Oklahoma. Both of you guys are here now, so that doesn't always happen. That was just an interesting year.
Right, that is interesting. That's why that question was just like, I'm just like, yo, like small town guy, 3A, 2A, there's some 6A guards out there, whatever.
You know what, that was so long ago though, there was not even 6A. There was only 5 back at that time in Oklahoma. Now, obviously, there is 6.
Right.
But that was prior to there being a 6A.
Which is still
though.
Right.
I mean, 2 and 3A compared to the 5.
So with you being a big time coach for so long, what would you tell the small town kids that is trying to get looked at, how to get themselves out there?
You know what? It's so funny because nowadays the internet has changed so many things, and for better and worse, both. And sometimes I think worse than better, but better. And I say
worse.
Yeah,
it's got to be a good word.
Better and worse. You can't be like the guy that. It's not about the clips, that 10-second clip that these people put on the internet. It can't be that. It can't be about you trying to score 35 points at these small schools. It wasn't because I led the team in scoring. It was because I led the team in assists. It's because I played hard. It's because I did things like that translated. You know, I was a
Did you lock up?
Yeah, I was fun. You know what? I was an all-conference defender my senior year in college. Yeah. So yes. But I was also about this big when I left high school. But by the time I was a senior in college, notice I said I was an all-league. I wasn't the first 3 years.
It took some time.
I was not the first 3 years.
You always had the desire.
Yeah, I thought I was those first 3 years. It just took a little while.
Yeah.
But I would tell those kids, play the game the right way, play hard, compete. Don't fall in love with trying to score every time you touch. Like I tell all kids that, not just small, but even kids out here that try to, they fall in love with a ranking. They fall in love with the internet, and they think if I score 30, I got a shot at getting. But no, you can shoot yourself right out of a scholarship too.
Right.
Like no efficiency. If I look at you and you scored 30, but your team got beat by 20, and you were not very efficient, that doesn't help your cause.
Not at all.
Yeah, play the game the right way.
Or if you gave up 30 and you scored 30.
It doesn't help your cause.
Right. Right. So you talked about that 10-second clip. We gotta touch on that. Coach, we gotta touch on that because I was victim to sending highlight tapes back when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? And so can we address what a kid actually needs to send to a school if they're not represented? You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Nowadays, even like with the COVID and the pandemic going on, and everyone's watching, all these different platforms. I mean, there's a million of them, but you have to watch games on those. But you watch full games. So if you want to do that, you can send some highlights, but send a full game behind it.
Right,
that way I can watch what you do on the defensive end. I can see how you responded to that guy scoring on you. Did you come down and take a knucklehead shot right after you got scored on because you're that guy?
Right.
Or did you come back and you still played it the right way?
Right.
I mean, so I want to see the game.
Did you put your team above yourself?
Yes.
After he just
after that dude just gave you some work, did you come back and take a bad shot because you just got work? Or did you still stay in the flow? I mean, that's the stuff that coaches want to see.
Got you. So, would it be beneficial? I'm trying to help y'all. Y'all better pay attention.
Listen up.
Would it be beneficial if they sent good game, bad game, or like, is it just one full game will do it?
No, just send me a game. It can be, and I'm assuming no one's gonna want to send a bad game. So
Right.
no, I would say don't do that. Send a game though, along with some clips. And don't see, what I hate, and I'm sure a lot of other friends of mine hate just as much too. I don't want to see a guy shooting free throws on some highlight clip that you send me. Don't send that. Do not send me free throws. I don't want to see that.
Listen, he just dropped the gym. No free throws on your highlights. I was that guy, but I didn't know. So I'm trying to help him, man.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help him, man. Like I got an and one. It was cute. So I gotta show him I got all three,
Again, send the tape, send some clips. I know, obviously want to see something. Guy has some explosion, some different things. It might even be you watch that to kind of get your attention, and that leads you into watching the video.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't. I don't want to see a whole bunch of dunks. If you can only drive right, and you send me 22 clips, and 21 of them you're driving with your right hand and your hands down. Like some people don't realize that we notice that. Like that's show me you going left and right. You might be able to trick me till I watch the tape.
Right.
But if you show me 20 clips and you're going 19 on 19 of them, you're going right with your head down. That's probably not helping.
Bueno.
Yeah, that's not helping your cause.
That's a jail, man.
Deep.
That's a jail.
Deep.
You gotta show yourself changing directions, doing some different things.
Yeah. Simple as that is.
That's dope though. Like as simple as that is, a player will really send a clip of all right-handed drives.
And they have no idea. And they don't even realize it when they send it. Or the coach that made it for them may not realize it when they send that.
They just telling you that's how they can do.
No, they're telling on themselves. You're exactly right. You're telling on yourself. At least try to trick them.
Right.
Sometimes you can trick a guy.
So what about the ones who do want to score and they actually really can ball, but they think they don't have the guys to let them do other stuff. So they come from a small town school and they don't do nothing but score, but they don't get the looks that they want. What do you do for them?
You know what? Sometimes everyone takes a different route. So they might have to go to a junior college or to a prep school or to something, but go
Learn
there
how to get
and just keep progressing. I mean, you're gonna have to play a little more defense. You're gonna have to do some other things from small town Oklahoma, small town whatever state it is, to playing at the junior college level. Then that may lead you to low, mid, high, wherever that takes you.
Right.
But you're gonna have to do more. and it might take you going that route to get to where you're headed. You might have to go around a few corners.
Because I was that guy. I ain't gonna lie. I thought getting buckets was the key. I averaged almost 30 points my senior year, and just wonder why I didn't get looks. We were winning, stuff like that. But
where did you go after that?
I went junior college.
Exactly. It might take.
But I kind of think I tell myself it's grades, but then again, still hearing you, it sounds like even if I had the grades, I mean I could show I went different ways, but I thought getting a bucket was the key. So. That's why I asked, because, I was that guy, I think if you get a bucket, any school's going to give me a chance or something like that, so.
Yeah. And you know what, though? It depends, too. Like, I was a 5'11", skinny point guard. So I had to show that I could run a team and lead the team in assists, and that I could handle the ball. I never really, knock on wood, that was what I was known for in college. I was like 3, almost 4 to 1 assist to turnover. I didn't turn the ball over. So I had to show that I could do, and I still averaged 23 points a game as a senior in high school. But to get what I wanted to get, I had to show that, 5'11", 150-something pound point guard, that's, you're not going to score 20. I didn't score 20-something points when I got to college. So I had to show that something translated to get me there.
Wow, that's fire, man. Okay, I got to come back. All right, where was I? Okay. So you signed with Tulsa, right? Was anybody else knocking before you signed with Tulsa?
You know what? It's funny because it comes back full circle. I'd had a bunch of little, sniffs here and there, but I was going to go. I had grades and all that, but I was going to go to a junior college and show and prove and
get there.
Yeah, and get there. But it just so happens, like I said, everything happens. I always say this to my boys. Things have a way of working out, and they happen for a reason. There's a reason that Coach Tubby Smith got that job at the time that he got it, and I was in that position, and he wanted a fast point guard to be the point guard of the future. He signed a junior college guy, so we came in together. I was a freshman, he was a junior. He was a first-team all-conference guy in the Missouri Valley his junior and senior year. I played a little bit as a freshman, played much more as a sophomore. Started as a junior, was honorable mention All-League. We went to a Sweet 16. Never came out of the game, started both junior and senior year. Oh, I was first team all conference. We went back to the Sweet 16, back-to-back years. So, things happen for a reason. So, just kind of.
And Tulsa ain't been back since.
Shout out to the Hurricane, though, the Golden Hurricane. Shout out to the Golden Hurricane. They got to get back.
They got to get back, man. Real talk. They got to get back. So that's dope, though, because you know what? I think about guys who have that one Division I offer, or 2 or whatever it is, but a bunch of, say, Division II offers or a bunch of junior college opportunities. And because they get that one Division I offer, they'll jump at that, though it might not be the right situation. Have you seen that a ton?
You know what? This is the one thing I will say, and I've preached this from being a college basketball coach for 25 years. I've seen, this is the one thing I see, and it's great. I'm glad you led me to this. If it's one thing I get out of this conversation, I want anybody and everybody watching it, from coaches to players to parents,
tune in.
Please listen to me here. This is what gets me. This is one of my pet peeves. Go to the best fit. The best level, best fit, not the highest scholarship that you get. So that means if you have 4 mid-major offers and you got one team that just so happens has 3 or 4 scholarships and they're in the whatever Power 5, and they say, oh, hell, that's just throwing one. And that guy's so excited to, oh, man, I got to go play. P5. And he takes that, and you know what? There's a reason we got 1,500 people in the transfer portal right now. I went to Tulsa. Tulsa's a mid-major when I got there. Now they're in the American, so I consider it mid-major plus, high major minus, the American Athletic Conference. Right. But when I went to the Missouri Valley Conference, it was a mid-major. But you know what? When I go back to Tulsa, if I drive to Tulsa right now and drive around that campus and someone says, Pooh Williamson, man, you were a bad dude when you played here. You know what? You went to back-to-back Sweet 16s. You know what? You won 2 conference championships. You know what? We got mad love. I went to the right level, the right spot, and I had a great career because of it. Go to the spot that fits you. Don't try to take the high. Now, if the highest one you get is something that fits you, go.
Right.
Yeah, I welcome you. Go. But if it's not, and it's just that your ego wants you to do that instead of this perfect fit, where you can go and you can play the most, then you can be successful, and you can go win, and then all of a sudden you go back 20 years from now and people say, man, you were a bad dude when you played here.
Yes, sir.
Go there.
Woo-wee, that was a hot one.
Oh, that's real.
That's real.
Oh, it's so real. And so many people just make that mistake. Yeah, they fall for it. It's a banana in the tailpipe. Hey, don't do it.
I would have fell for it. That's why we gotta address it. Like, it needs to be addressed. Like, one of my youngins, man, you know.
Well, I'm sorry, I want to cut you off, but
Talk to me.
OU didn't offer me. I didn't get offered by OU. That was in the Big 8 that time prior to the Big 12.
Big 8.
I didn't play in the Big 8. I played in the Missouri Valley. I had a great career in the Missouri Valley. I might have went to the Big 8, and you know what? I might have had a good career, whatever. May not have. May have ended up having to transfer and leave because it wouldn't have worked out. But I didn't have to worry about that because I went to the right level, the right spot. It fit me. Go wherever it fits you.
And that's what I was gonna say. My youngin, he's in the transfer portal right now. And so, you know how with COVID, guys are getting eligibility back. And so my youngin transfers in from a JUCO to Division I, and I guess, you know, players are coming back or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know the situation. I try not to get too deep into it because I know it's a sensitive one, right? But he hit in the transfer portal. And so I was talking to a coach about him the other day, and he was just like, yeah, is he looking? Maybe I can help him out, whatever. And I said, yeah, he's trying to go to another Division I. And he was like, I know he can play. Believe me, I'm not trying to say he can play. But with him being in the transfer portal and he didn't play at his previous school, it's going to be hard for another coach to give him a chance. Because why would I play you over this high schooler who's doing the best in high school, or this junior college guy who just got conference player, whatever, you know? So I'm just like, holy cow.
Well, I'm going to take it a step further than that. There's some high-level 2022 guys that it will not affect them. But if you are lower level, you know, I'm a Division I guy, but I'm not one of the guys.
Right.
This transfer portal is about to affect them too. I mean, it's going to be because of some guy that maybe played at a low major that will get a mid-major bump up. Now those mid-major guys are going to be recruiting this guy, so all of a sudden that high school guy that was on the cusp may miss out. It might be Division II. I don't know how many Division II guys I've seen. I've seen Division II guys jumping all the way to the Big 12. But so you know those D2 guys that had great success are going to come up to the lower major levels. Right. So now that's affecting that high school kid that had those low major offers. Ooh, because now all of a sudden you got D2 guys that are going to make that bounce. So all of a sudden it's kind of pushing this guy down. It's like a pecking order. I mean, it's going to affect everything.
So a guy, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Go ahead.
So do you think he better off staying where he at?
Or
even though
transferring down?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you better go to where you. I mean, we'll see. I can't answer that because I don't know the situation. Every situation is different.
We'll talk about it off air.
Every situation is different.
I'll give you the whole nitty gritty off air.
Yeah. So yeah.
You got another question?
No, I'm just thinking now. He got me thinking because like when he put it like that, that's like a lot of people we ain't think about who gonna get opportunities to move up, like he said.
Oh yeah, and then others that were hoping to get here that are high school seniors or junior college sophomores, just some are gonna get in, but this portal's out here, and all these guys are reaching from that.
Is that a record?
Oh, it has to be, and it's growing daily. I mean, so I'm not sure the exact number today, but I mean it's over 1,500.
That's crazy.
That portal getting sick.
Oh,
so for the seniors this year who are good players but may not have the school they want or getting the look that they should, do you think they should go prep or?
I don't understand prep. Can you shed some light on prep?
Well, they're all different. I mean, but you know, that's a situation where a kid can go. I mean, you know, go and have an extra year, an extra shot at it, right. And not affect you as you know. You go junior college, and all of a sudden it's your freshman year. Right. So you go post grad, you can go play another year, get a little bigger, get a little stronger. I mean, I've seen guys do that and have great success. Seen guys that do that and they end up at a junior college anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What about academically? Does that help or hurt them
when it's time to go to college?
No, it doesn't hurt.
Academics part of it.
Doesn't hurt. I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean, you can go there and actually take. I think there's a limit, like 3 to 6 credit hours, as long as you don't take more than 6 or something, and then you start triggering you being a full-time student.
But you could also not take any credits.
Right, you can do that. You can just.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you can just go play.
Oh, wow.
What? You could not go to school.
That.
Like, you go to prep school and not do school.
Well, they still do some online stuff. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they can. I don't want to start blowing prep school guys.
They basically use it as like a red shirt year.
That's what you're doing. But it doesn't count against that even. You can do that and still go somewhere in red shirt.
Actually playing.
Yeah, exactly. Get a year bigger and stronger. Get a little better. You hope. I mean, you hope you take advantage of it and become a better player.
COVID though, that's why I asked. Like, I mean, obviously, if it's a kid, it's not the COVID situation. I would tell them go get better that way. But with the COVID situation, like you said, the portal looking like it is. How would you suggest it, or how would you guide a kid in that direction?
I don't know. It depends on the quality of the prep situation, because there's some really good ones, there's some okay ones, and there's some not so good ones. So, and again, it all comes back to who are you dealing with?
What's the fit?
Yeah. Who are you dealing with? Is it one of those great situations with some of those prep schools that you know are legitimate? You know you got guys that come through and they recruit them because they keep good players? Or is it an okay situation? Or is it a situation where you're just wasting time? And it could be any of the above.
I'm having too much fun. All right, so check me. Back-to-back Sweet 16s. Tell me.
Which I don't really break out too often, so I just dropped that nugget on you guys. A lot of people didn't know that.
Let's go. Back-to-back Sweet 16s. You know we had to come back to that. Tell me you had a draft stock after that.
Not really though. You know what? I was lucky enough to where I played after college. I played in what would be it's a CBA, the Continental Basketball Association, which would be comparable. It's the G League. It's basically the G League now. And I had a chance. I played probably 20-some, 30 games in the CBA. I almost said G League. And then I got lucky that they needed a guy that didn't need a lot of money because he didn't have a lot of experience, that wanted to get into coaching. So I was able to be 22 years old and get my foot in the door and got a job, not making any money, was working like crazy. That's another thing. Before we get off, I got to tell you what my first official job was when I was, my first task, I guess, on the job as a college basketball coach. But so, and after playing that year in the CBA, I got lucky and got to Washington State and got a job. And so wanted to be a college coach after playing. I was a point guard. I can still never forget it. It was a sophomore, junior year in college. One of the assistant coaches, like during practice, I think I was telling guys where to go, doing this, doing that. And he goes, Pooh, what do you want to do, man, when you finish college? So I'm in, I'm a business management major, so I don't know. I'm going to do something, business, get a job. And he goes, you ever thought about being a coach? I was like, no, man, what the hell? No, didn't think about it at all. And you know what? Next thing you know, I was a junior. Next thing you know, I was a senior. And
maybe
well, when you started, I'm talking, and I could almost finish Coach Tuffy Smith's sentences for him by the time I was leaving, because I could see it. And you know what? That's another thing too. As a point guard or as a basketball player in general, the good players, like the game slows to a point where you see the stuff happening before it happens.
Right.
When you know, I got it here. This guy's setting the pin down. This guy's gonna help, and I'm looking, so I know when this guy helps, I'm hitting him on the slip. You're already thinking that as it's happening. Like the good players, that's how the game works. The dudes that are just fighting and holding on, those guys are just okay.
Right.
That's a different side in guys. The good players, they see it before it's happening. They know it's about to happen.
Is that, I guess if you watch enough film, but can you see that on film?
You can see, when you ask that, do you mean, can I see a guy
a guy, can you, like, oh man, he sees the game.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And on the flip side of that, watching video and setting in, which is such a big part of our job, to sit down and we go through tape and we watch a lot of video with guys.
I would love that job, man. Oh my God.
It is actually tough to like the more they do it, the better they can get. But the experience of playing, doing, and the video, watching, that's when the game starts to move at a little bit slower pace. Still moving fast. Matter of fact, guys move faster. But in your mind, it just moves at you see it at a slower pace.
You dissect it.
Yeah, you know what's about to happen. And if it doesn't happen to you, okay, boom. I know right here. Here's my adjustment. Here's the counter. That's when guys get it.
Yeah. Man, so now I see why you and Coach Hartman are so cool. Both of y'all played a little baseball back in your day. Both of y'all played a little bit CBA. He told us he was in the CBA and he got hurt. I think his first year in the CBA.
And he was a year before me. And so that's funny. Coach Hartman was a 90 guy. He started his freshman year in 90. I was 91. So I was a year behind him.
And so, boom, from there, he went on and he coached right out of the CBA. Well, I don't think it was right out of the CBA. I'm mixing up my memories there. But yeah, y'all got similar stories in that regard. So that's pretty fantastic, man. So Washington State.
Back. First task. I get there, I get hired in the summer. I'll never forget, I go up for my job interview. I went and worked camp. They had camp going on out in Pullman, Washington. I go out, fly out. I think I flew into Spokane. Someone picked me up, drove the hour and 30-something minutes to Pullman. I go up to Pullman, and I'm show up ready to work camp, not knowing I'm on a 4-day interview. I'm young still. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm coming full of energy.
Hey, 4 days?
So they had plenty of time to dissect me. Talking about dissecting. I was getting dissected. Didn't even know it. And so work the camp, meet all the people, kind of have, again, they're studying. I'll never forget one of the times the head coach, who was Kevin Eastman, is a hell of a coach too. Coach Eastman coached with Doc Rivers at Boston and the Clippers in LA. Now he's, I don't know if you know Kevin Eastman, but he's one of the best skill development guys in the world. I was going to say in the country, but in the world. And so Coach Eastman, I'll never forget, he said, well, Pooh, you know what? I heard great things. Kind of, we've had time to meet a few times, do this, during that week. He said one of the things that I noticed, just little things though, he said, when you met my wife, you didn't even know. I put 2 and 2 together. You had a feel for it. I saw her up at the camp, went over, introduced myself, was sitting there talking to her, and he goes, I saw how you interacted and how you figured out how quickly who she was. And little did I know, I'm just doing me.
Right.
But people notice little things, man. As you're out and about and you're doing stuff. And he told me that, and I was like, oh, okay. I was thinking so what are you saying? He goes, no, he said, I noticed how you can get along and different people. You're hanging out with these dudes over here on the court. You went over and spoke to my wife. Next thing you know, we were eating lunch at the cafeteria. Saw you interacted with the lady that was serving the food. Okay. And you know what I thought too? This is one of the things that working for Coach Kruger here at the University of Oklahoma.
Right.
He and Coach Tubby Smith are 2 of the best in the world. And I always say there's a reason why those guys make the millions of dollars that they make. Because those dudes, you know what they do? If you go to some event and it's the biggest dude in the room, the CEO, the guy that owns the company, and the janitor is right over here, they treat them both the same.
That's fire.
When you do that, when you that kind of dude, a real dude like that, there's a reason why those guys in the positions they in. They treated this guy just like they treated the guy serving the food, the drinks, or the guy cleaning up. Treat them the same, man.
That's a gem.
Yeah, and do that. I mean, you know what I mean? Not many people are like that, but there's a reason why those dudes are the caliber of dudes that they are.
Right. That's legit, man. So on your 4-day interview now, so Coach basically picked up on you as a person.
That was the biggest. That's what got me in the door to get
not you as a coach.
Yeah, no, as a person. That's how. That got my foot in the door. And so, again, leads me to once I got hired, I go back out in the summertime. I'll never forget the coaches were on the road recruiting in the month of July. And I got an entry-level position. I wasn't recruiting at the time. I was in-house, kind of taking care of everything. And my first job, it would be a hell of a lot easier today with all the different software and all the computers and watching games.
Yeah.
I had to get all these VHS tapes. Every game that Washington State played the year before I got there, prior to me arriving, and every returning player, I think it was 8 returning players. I had to go through, and I had a pen, and I had a remote control, and I made sure I rewound every tape to 0, put the little button 0, and I started at 0, and I'd watch. And if it was a returner, number 22, I'd write down number 22, the time that he was shooting the ball, boom, keep going. All right, number 32, returner, I'd write down 1 minute and 23 seconds to 1:26. Boom. I had to go through 30 games And all 8 of those guys, every shot that they took. And so that was a task. And I think when he gave me that task, it was kind of like, let me see what this guy does. Because he thought it was going to be an all summer.
You banged it out though.
Oh, I had number time. I'm up in there. I was like, it was midnight. It was certain days I'd try to do as many as I could. One day I might not do one. Then I'd do 4 in a day. And so when they got back in July, and I was like, boom.
There you go.
He was like, you did all those already? I'm like, yeah, what you got next? Was like, yeah, I mean,
What's
that was my first job. My first task as a college basketball coach was watching every game from the year before, and I had to go through those 8 returns. Never forget, I think it was 8 guys. Had to go through and chart.
I don't think you can forget that.
Yeah, that was a mission.
Yo, was there a particular purpose, or were they just breaking you in?
No, he used it. He went like when, so I took it to the video guy, and that's why he had all those numbers, so he could just go through and he went chopped it up right quick. And so Coach Eastman sat down with each guy and was able to go through. And now again, that was prior to the software we have now. It's just so easy. I can go click on some stuff and boom, it'd be done. It's done. Like yeah, so quick and easy now. But that was prior to that. And so he sat down with all those guys and watched all the shots from the year before.
That is fantastic. That is quite a task.
Oh, that was I'll never forget it. That was my first thing that I did as a college basketball coach.
So,
how long were you at Washington State?
2 years. 2 years in Pullman. You West Coast guy, so
Right.
Up in the Northwest though. I was northwest. Where it got a little cold.
Sacramento, I'm down there. It's a little evened out. It ain't that cold.
Yeah, a little chilly in Pullman.
Well, so then what about when you left there? I went take a step up?
Yes, then I went to Illinois State University, where I was able to get on the road and recruit. And see, that was the thing. Even back then when I was at Washington State, you still could coach. Like I was on the floor coaching.
So title at Washington State?
It was not director of basketball operations. It was kind of the third assistant. They used to call them they called it not part-time or whatever, but it was it was right after restricted earnings, where they had like the deal where all those coaches sued the NCAA because they gave it a title, restricted earnings. You could only make $16,000 or something at that time. So I was just after restricted earnings, but it was the third. Yeah, exactly. Although I didn't make much more than that either, by the way. All right, first job. I come a long way from that one.
Yes, sir.
But it was the third assistant / part-time guy, whatever the heck they called it. I don't even know what the name. It would be comparable to a Dobo that could coach back then.
Okay.
You said Dobo. Pretend like I don't know what that is.
Director of basketball operations.
Oh, see? Yeah. I know what that is.
It would be comparable to that, because you know what I did? Along with doing scouting reports and coaching on the floor and all that, I still was doing at that time, making sure that the bus was there on time, or we were, I was in charge of the menus and the meals that we were doing and all. So I did all of that along with all of this. So now the Dobo does that and the 3 assistants do this. But that was all wrapped into one. So I was the Dobo and assistant coach all in one.
Wow.
So at that point, because the staffs wasn't as big as they are today back then.
That's quite the staff.
Different era. Different times have changed a lot over my 25 years.
But Illinois State, though, that was a big step.
That was a nice step because I was able to go on the road and get my feet wet with recruiting kids and going out and seeing guys and getting in the car and driving. And
how much fun is recruiting?
Oh, you know what? It's great. It's great. It's the relationships, too. It's like any profession, anything you do, coaching and recruiting both. It starts recruiting them, and then when you get them, you got to keep developing that relationship. But everything
you wasn't full of.
Yeah, everything's relationships, and you can coach them harder when you have a relationship. High school, you can coach them harder when you have a relationship, and they know you care. I tell everybody, my first 2 years, I was like, man, this dude must hate me, Coach Smith. Man, my freshman and sophomore year, because he was on my butt. Somebody else could screw up and he was getting on me. But then my last 2 years, he didn't have to say, you know what I mean? Because I had already. You knew what to do. Yeah, exactly. But it was also the relationship. We had a great relationship. I worked for Coach. He coached me, but I worked for him at both Texas Tech and Memphis because, I was this point guard from, like he said, I told him I was on scholarship for 20-something years.
Yeah.
Hell, from 91 all the way to Texas Tech and Memphis. I was still on scholarship with it.
Hey, man, you breaking rules out here.
20-year scholarship.
Yes, sir. That's dope, man. That's dope, man. So I guess we're kind of fast forwarding a little bit now. So I kind of want to touch a little bit more on the recruiting side of it, though, because I feel like that's it might be the most important of everything coaches do. Yeah, you got to coach them, but you need.
It's the lifeblood of every program. And it's something like, I'll never forget when I went to Illinois State, a guy told me, he said, recruiting is like shaving. I was like, what do you mean? What the hell is recruiting like shaving? He was like, you got to do it every day. He said, because when you stop doing it every day, you look like a bum. He said, your team will look like you have a bunch of bums out there. He said, I was like, what? All right, I got it.
That makes sense,
he said, he knew what he was talking. You do it every day. He said, you got to do it. You every day you're doing something. And you might not be able to go on the road recruiting, but now you text, you're calling, you're reaching out to the coaches, you're doing this, you're doing that, the guys that run the scouting services. You're always doing something, trying to cultivate.
Can you reach out to kids on social media and all that too?
You can, but you can't post anything publicly, though. It can be like direct messaging with them, and then you can like or retweet anything that they put, like on Twitter, and you can like stuff on Instagram, but you cannot, like I can't
put a comment.
No comments. There's a lot of rules. The rule book is bigger than this. That's what the rule book looks like.
It's like a spell book.
Matter of fact, this is what it looks like.
For real, I believe you.
Some of the rules probably intertwined. How
does
that work?
Oh, come on. Man. The compliance departments have grown too over my 25 years too, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, because the more rules, the more people you gotta help you enforce them.
Right. Dang, man, that is nuts. Recruiting, man. I always was like, I wonder how I'd be as a recruiter.
You know what? We take a test every year too. That was another thing that a lot of people don't know. You take a test every single year to be able to recruit. And so now it's not the hardest test on earth. It's an open book test.
Right.
But you have to take it. And it used to be 40. Back when I first started, it was 40 questions. And now they made it 30. So now it's 30 questions. A 30 question test every year that you have to get, I think, 80%. You got to get an 80. It's not like you got to get at least a B to be able to recruit.
About the rule book?
Oh, yeah, it's the rule book. It's the rules. There's rules. It's not all just recruiting, but it's mostly recruiting.
Here I am thinking it's a personality test to see if you still love it.
No, it's rules, regulations. And you have to pass that test yearly to go recruit.
Can I get my hand on that test just to see?
Yeah, actually you can. No, I think you can go online. If you go Google NCAA recruiting exam, it'll pop up and you can take a practice exam.
You don't know what you don't know until you
learn it. I'm serious. We finished, Google that and it'll pop up. That's NCAA recruiting exam. That's tough. And click on, they'll give you different ones and you click on men's basketball and you'll get the men's basketball recruiting exam.
That's fire. I'm gonna do that.
And tell me what you make.
I'm gonna only tell you. Because I don't want you to not think of me later on in life.
Oh no, that brother got a 50% on that.
You got a 50 on his test. He good. We don't need him. No, man. Sheesh. So from all these steps you've taken, I mean, how many different colleges did you coach at?
Oh man,
this is too long for me.
I was just about to say we don't have enough time on the podcast, but I went. Let's run them real quick. We went from Washington State to Illinois State to Tulane. All right, Tulane to Tulsa.
Hartman.
No. We never were at the same time though. But I went to his alma mater. I was there. Tulane to Tulsa, my alma mater. Then I went from Tulsa to Wichita State. Then that's when I went to I crossed the Red River, went to Texas. It was at A&M for 4. Prior to going to SEC, that was my 4 years at A&M were when they were in the Big 12. From A&M to SMU to TCU. So I stayed right in the
love the
DFW.
Big 12.
Yeah, exactly. TCU to Texas Tech.
You love
Which was the Big
it.
12. I've had 10 years. I've had, count the two here, it was 10 years in the Big 12. And so from Texas Tech, with Coach Smith, with Coach Tubby, we inherited a team that was 10th place in the Big 12. And you know what, in 3 years we had them in the NCAA tournament.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was the best. And so from there, doing that, Coach goes to Memphis. So I'm off to Memphis
sure.
And then from Memphis, I was at the University of Miami.
Stop counting already.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm already 11 on that.
That's
By the way,
11.
so I went to the University of Miami,
I think that's 12.
and then from Miami to here. There it is, 12. We get you to 12 right there. And so, but that being said, now let's rewind. I got married while we were living in Wichita.
Right.
So before that, all those ones in Wichita was just me. That was easy.
Right.
But once I got married now, all of a sudden,
The fam.
yeah, so it gets a little tougher now. And we've made plenty, and my wife's and now the beauty of that though too, is my wife was a coach. We met at the University of Tulsa. I was an assistant basketball coach. She was an assistant women's rowing coach.
Oh.
So that's how we met. We were in different parts, we didn't even
she
know.
come on this show?
She's a coach.
Would she
Bring her
come
in.
on this show?
She
'Cause
would.
she would be the first rowing coach
And female coach.
that we had on the show. That'd be dope.
Yeah, no, she's a coach. But we were, little did we know, because we were in our own world and she was over in whatever building they were in her own
Right.
world. So we worked in the same athletics department for over a year. Didn't even know the other one existed.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, you have to say something to her next time.
big
She's a
facts.
coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So then, what went into your decisions to take a different job after that?
You know what? You hope to always be moving for a better situation. Sometimes out of your control. I mean, you know,
Right.
Coach Kruger just retired, so I mean that was a little bit out of your control.
out
But
of your
then,
control.
yeah, but you know, Coach Smith going to, you know, we've done a hell of a job rebuilding Texas Tech, and Coach Smith had the opportunity to go to Memphis, and you know what? Coach calls and says, "Hey man, pack your bags. We're going to Memphis."
And y'all make such a good team.
Yeah, you pack your bag and you hit the road and go on to Memphis. So yeah, I mean, and you just always want to be in this profession. You want to, you know, you want to do a good job and better yourself. And the one thing I will say, like in any profession, anything you do, kind of what we talked about earlier with Coach Kruger and Coach Tubby, like it's all about people. You treat people right and you're professional and you get that reputation, then you can be lucky. I've been lucky enough to be able to move and to be in the Big 12 for 10 years and to, you know, to coach at a high level because you try to treat people right, try to show up every day, be professional, and you can keep a good job.
That's fire. See?
And it might not just be in the Big 12, or it could be a high school coach.
Right.
Show up every day, be professional, treat people right. It could be a junior college coach, it could be a middle school coach. Do that though. Show up, treat people right, be professional every single day.
And have fun.
And it's the beauty of the game. You know what, a dude from a small town with no stoplights has been able to go a lot of places, meet a lot of people, do a lot of things because of that ball.
To this day, I say that all the time. I met more people just from playing basketball than going to school or anything.
Oh, come on, man. No, for real. I'm telling you. That's, I'm going to say that when we get off, I'm going to go back to that again. That thing right there, man.
Right.
Take you a lot of places.
So the interview thing to do right now would be to ask you what's next. Unless you want to answer that, I don't want to do that to you. So
All right.
instead, I'm going to ask you, what message do you have for the kids right now that are looking for an opportunity? And then what message do you have for the coaches right now that are looking to get into the game? Because it's not easy to go, I'm going to play in the CBA. Oh, they need an assistant coach. You know what I'm saying? Like I wish it was, you know what I mean? Like, is it that simple for everybody? Like,
No, again, I went back to what I said. At that point in time, I was young and they wasn't paying a whole hell of a lot. And it was like, the stars aligned. It was
Right.
just so, it just happened. And once I got my foot in the door, I took advantage of the rest. But no, first I'm going to start by answering your questions. So to kids, it's kind of similar to what I was just saying, which if you're a kid and you got Can't be one of those dudes that all of a sudden we waiting on him, you know, to see if he gonna pass this and this and this class, if he's gonna actually be eligible to do. Take care of your business academically to start with, because as a coach, and I don't have to worry about that. If I look at your high school transcript and you barely making it, then I know by the time we get you, that's gonna be maintenance.
Because the rigor is even more.
Far more. So all of a sudden, I know that's, when I look at your high school transcript, I know whether or not you're going to be high maintenance for us when we get you. So take care of business to start with. That's my first bit of advice. Take care of your business. Because we know. We look at it and we know what translates. Guys that are really good, they know how to come here and take care of business when they get to the next level. They're going to have time to get up, come over and work out in the morning, lift weights, go to class, come back for practice, go to study hall afterwards, get up, rewind, what they say, rinse and repeat. Yeah, do it again. Dudes, they can't handle that because all of a sudden I'm looking when you're at home and mom is on you about doing your homework and you're just going to school, taking your 7 hours and practicing in the afternoon.
And you're done, you're free.
And you still screwing up academically. That's probably not going to be a good thing. You're going to struggle when we get you. So first off, take care of your business academically. Second off, have a work ethic. You can't, I mean, what do they say? You can't have like a $5 work ethic and want like $1 million dreams.
Right.
Can't do that. That's not going to happen. You got to be willing to work. That's one of the things I will say. And there was a reason why when I got to Tulsa as a player, as a freshman, one, I didn't weigh but 150-some pounds, like I said, but I kept working. But Coach Smith gave an award out. He called it the individual workout, be like skill development award. So he gave it out at the end of every year. And till this day, he still tells a story. And I've been around him for the last, 7, 8 years working for him before I went to Miami and came here. I was the only guy that ever won it 4 years in a row. The dude that showed up every single day, worked the hardest every single day, didn't take a day off, worked, you know what? Have a work ethic. So as a kid in high school, that can get you somewhere. I became an okay guy as a freshman, a little better as a sophomore. Honorable mention all-league, but was a starting point guard on the Sweet 16 as a junior, was a first-team all-conference guy, and was starting on the Sweet 16 team as a senior. Because every single day, I worked my butt off, and I got a little better every single day, and by the time I was a senior, hell, I was a good player. So work hard every day. Take care of your business. Have a work ethic. Bust your tail. Keep getting better. All right? Don't act like I've made it because I'm ranked number 78 in the country, because that stuff means zero. You could be ranked number 178 or number 8. It really means nothing when you get to college, because everybody was somebody.
Right.
So don't let some number that some dude that you don't know
gave you.
Yeah, gas you up and think that you so ready. No, that number doesn't mean anything when you get to college. And all those articles that dudes are writing mean nothing when you get to college.
Talk to them.
Yo, when you come, you better be ready to work. So that's my advice to players. And as a coach, I think what I said earlier, simple, I'm going to keep it very simple for coaches. Same thing I said earlier about being professional. Treat people the right way. Show up every single day with a smile on your face. No matter if you're middle school. I don't care if you're AAU, middle school, high school, JUCO, low major to the NBA. Do that. That will help you progress.
Show up every day.
Every single day. And have the right attitude and be professional and then treat people right. And I mean all people, not just whatever. All the people you deal with, treat them right. It sounds simple, but a lot of guys can't do that.
Especially them people that you don't know who, you think they're nobody, then later on you find out, oh, that was so-and-so.
That's what, oh, no question. That's what happens.
Gosh. You never know who's in the room.
No, you don't, but just be a good dude. Treat people right.
Dude.
Treat people right, man.
So on the basketball side of it, would you recommend anything? I mean, I know like now there's coaches workshops, things like that. Like, what's your take on those?
I would say one of the best things that any coach can do, and that's different levels of X and O's, like guys, you got to be you when it comes to that. Be you. Coach with your, we all have a passion for the game. So be you.
Your experience.
But yeah. So, and you can't be somebody else. I can't be Coach Lon Kruger. I can't be Coach Tubby Smith. I can't be Coach Jim Larinaga. You know, I can't be those guys that I've worked for. I got to be me. But what I could say is we can all, and you guys do this too, so I'm actually preaching to the choir, you got to be able to make guys better, though. You got to have something like just the fundamentals of the game, footwork, whatever. You know, some of these guys get, I'm a shot doctor, I'm a this, I coach big guys, I coach that, whatever. Just coach the fundamentals of the game. Be able to make guys better. If you can do that, you can progress in any level of this sport. You know what I mean? Be able to make dudes better.
Don't matter.
Doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, you can work with middle school guys or you can work with pros. Make them better.
All right. That's, boy, you dropping gems. Dropping gems. So I got to ask you this before we move on to this ball signing, man. You've been such a great interview, and I cannot let you go without asking you how you got your nickname.
Oh man, as simple as can be. I'm back in Oklahoma too, and I was
Winnie the Pooh.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was a baby in some orange pajamas. My mom's sister, my aunt, said, "Looks like Winnie the Pooh." Was 40-something years ago.
Yeah.
And it's stuck.
Forever.
That's the truth. That's real.
I was just playing when I said Winnie the Pooh.
That's real.
So like even by everybody you coach,
My mom calls me Pooh.
So it ain't basketball related.
Nope, zero.
I
No.
was like, he gonna say it's basketball related.
No, my wife, you name it. Yeah, from orange pajamas. My aunt said, "Man, he looks like Winnie the Pooh."
Hey, you know, on like Earth 32, Winnie the Pooh probably can hoop. So, hey, for real though, man, that's dope, man. That's cool. That's cool, man. Twan, here you go. Show him what he working with.
Let's see what we got. What
some
we
big
working?
names on there, man. So you gonna be fitting right in.
Oh, okay. I appreciate you, brothers. Yeah, we got a nice little who's who going on here, huh?
Little something. And come on now, Oklahoma native.
Yeah.
Back-to-back Sweet 16. Come on now.
Come on.
Join the conversation.
Let me get a little something on here.
Yes, sir. Oh, you know how to practice. You're not how to practice at all.
Yeah, 30 years he said, right?
Hey, I know what I'm doing.
Do you sign a lot of autographs as a coach?
No, not nearly as many as I did when I was in my heyday, when I was really proud of myself and thought I could play.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That ball looking really, really heavy.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I like it. I
Told
appreciate
y'all
you,
this
brother.
Space Jam. Everybody who signed this ball.
We're going to take their power.
Give up a little. We giving up a little something. Huh? Well, you needed.
gave up some,
You
a whole lot of gems.
You needed me to sign that about 20-something years ago. I could have gave you a hell of a lot more if we talking basketball.
Hold on now. We trying to join the coaching world.
Right, that's where we
It's
at
the right
now.
time.
Right.
It's the right time. Well, man, we appreciate you coming to kick it with us, man. Thank y'all for hanging out with us as we drop gems that we picked up in these gems. Peace.
I appreciate you brothers having me on. I hope they got something out of it.
Oh, they better.
Sure do. Y'all telling y'all, we told y'all we got gems. We got them coming. Stay tuned. Tune in.
Peace. Coach, that was amazing.
Great.
Man, I appreciate you fellas, man.
I don't know what you had to do on your Sunday night, but we just talked. We just topped it. That was great. And it wasn't too long.
I'm glad.
Hour and something, little.
Hour and 5.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. Sound good, don't it? Check. Look. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Look. Life tried to drown me. This hoop is like my life jacket. This ice in my veins is something Titanic. Lockdown defense kept me out the center for detention. Divine intervention passes over to my center. Alleyways are the alley-oops. Some got no looks and passed away when somebody shoot. Back in court duo, but nobody hoops. The wrist follow through in the cuffs, got a loop. Pick a book up, picked up and get booked. It's just you and I, out running suicides. Me, I was out running suicide. Boy, I'm going in, dropping gems that I picked up in these gyms. I can't slack, I've been down and back. I'm just trying to share a few tales from this thing called life. Count my assists, man, I swear that basketball really saved my life. Yeah, yeah. I swear it saved my life. Let's go.